Former Representative Liz Cheney responded to Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's call for a national divorce on Monday, suggesting that it was unconstitutional. Our country is governed by the Constitution. You swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution. I know I mispronounced it. Secession is unconstitutional. No member of Congress should advocate secession, Marjorie, Cheney tweeted in response to Greene's comments. Cheney's response comes after Greene once again called for a national divorce earlier on Monday, suggesting that Republicans and Democratic states should be separated and that the federal government should be downsized. We need a national divorce, we need to separate by red states and blue states and shrink the federal government, Greene said on Monday. From the sick and disgusting woke cultural issues shoved down our throats to the democratic traitorous America last policies, we are done. Greene has previously mentioned a national divorce in comments made in 2021, and that Democratic supporters were able to ruin California, and they should not be able to follow suit in Florida. All possible in a national divorce scenario after Democratic voters and big donors ruin a state like California. You would think it wise to stop them from doing it to another great state like Florida. Brainwashed people that moved from California and New York really need a cooling off period, she wrote on Twitter at the time. Greene's comments on the national divorce on Monday came just after she criticized President Biden for visiting Ukraine on an unannounced trip. Biden didn't go to East Palestine, Ohio on President's Day. He went to Ukraine, a non-NATO nation, whose leader is an actor and is apparently now commanding our United States military to world war. We must impeach this America last fool before it's too late, she said in a tweet. So, it was interesting hearing from Cheney again because as far as I can tell, this is the first time we've heard from her since her term ended in the House. I could be wrong on that. I don't sit on Twitter all day like some of these politicians do. So the reason the national divorce comment is stupid is because even in states that you could call blue, like California is considered a blue state, right? But we still have Republican congressmen, including the current Speaker of the House. And even a state like Texas, which is red, and in my opinion has been skewing more towards purple, at least in certain elections, it has Democratic congressmen. So really, even the states that are supposedly treading toward being one or the other, they're not entirely that way. And also, when you know that the governorships and various House districts can flip between one party or the other every other election cycle or every couple of election cycles, it's even more ridiculous to try and split them off the way. But really listen to the way that Greene talks about things that she doesn't agree with. The left's traitorous policies. The Democrats' traitorous America last policies. What does that even mean? I mean, I think it's ridiculous to say someone who disagrees with you is a traitor to your country. I think that's nuts. But I could say, okay, well, the conservatives have, or rather the Republicans have, and I don't even like saying Republicans because they're not all the same, but like you could say the conservatives have a America last policy that's traitorous because they're against raising wages and they're opposed to schools being affordable and they don't want people to have single payer healthcare, even though every other developed country does. I could say those are traitorous towards Americans. I wouldn't say that because that's a type of rhetoric I don't personally subscribe to. But her national divorce theory is brainless. Downsizing the federal government. Well, how is the federal government going to work if the country is separated into two halves? Is the federal government just going to stay with the blue states? Like, hey, red states, I love you so much. I want you to have less resources by getting rid of the federal government that comes in and helps when your state government can't do something. Okay, whatever. Right? So that all of it is goofy, and really, it's kind of crazy that like we're being told about how Democratic supporters ruined California. They didn't vote. Excuse me. People who vote for something, or vote for a person, I should say, should not be held responsible for every single thing that the people in office do. Like there are plenty of people that voted for Trump that did not like that he continued sitting up in Afghanistan. There are people who voted for him that like the Affordable Care Act. Um, it's such a strange thing to say that we people from California and New York need a cooling off period, especially when you know that there are people in California that are Republicans. I mean, Trump got what 3 million votes from here before, so it's just a really dumb thing that she's saying. And I said before, Cheney is no liberal whatsoever. Um, in fact, her only claim to fame was being just saying the common sense of the fact that they tried a coup on January 6th. But it's it's nice to at least see some conservatives that don't follow this fringe crap. Like the U.S. separating again after the Civil War is just an insane, really baseless thing that you say when you want to have inflamed rhetoric. So I really don't understand the appeal of this lady, but I guess I shouldn't speak. I'm not a member of Congress. I wasn't voted in by thousands and thousands of people, so she must be doing something right. It's just kind of scary that like actual sitting members of the House and Senate who like people who have influential power with regard to introducing bills that can be voted on, and I have no doubt in my mind if she actually tried to introduce a bill to separate blue states and red states, it would probably fail spectacularly. But it's scary that like people with this belief system who like genuinely want to, because like there was already pushback against getting rid of the electoral college, and that's really just something that's for presidential elections. But the idea that you have a sitting member of Congress who wants to get rid of the United States being united and separate them based off of these terms, these loosely defined terms of blue and red states, based off of relatively recent voting patterns too, mind you, because you go back to 60s, 70s, 80s California, Republicans won over here all the time. You had the older Bush win this state in '88. You had the, Reagan was governor here. So I don't know, and we even had the Terminator as governor not even 20 years ago. So I really don't know where you're taking the recent trends of a state and saying it should be separated from this other state that's going in the opposite direction. Because Texas, just like how over here is, more Democratic than it is Republican, Texas used to be more Democratic than it is Republican. I mean, LBJ, um, you, Democrats won the state multiple times in the presidential elections before that. It's crazy that they take these current trends that are subject to change. They haven't been in place for no half a century or anything like that, and try to use them as a basis to split us in half. So I'm glad this is just a fringe thing on Twitter, but what's scary is that it can end up being something she actually tries to get done. And again, I don't think members of Congress should have positions like this, but whatever. Anybody can get elected now. I forgot.